Welcome back to Liminal Horror, our solo playthrough of a campaign that is happening as we play. It's good to be back. This was a longer break, but life has been busy, and it's been pretty hard to nail down the time to do this. So I'm glad we're here. Little recap. The gang, Chaz, Iris, and Todd, made their way from the university towards the professor's apartment. So they made their way towards the professor's apartment, Professor Hillard, and along the way, Todd received a phone call. And they essentially gave a spot to meet up. It was out of the blue, sketchy as hell. Todd refused. Essentially, they got jumped 10 minutes later. And, Todd got beat up quite a bit. So he's sitting at 0 HP and a strength of 3, which is pretty wild, considering his strength started at 7. So he's lost 4 strength. Not ideal. But he is alive, and they were able to kill the assailant, which self-defense, and made their way the rest of the way towards Professor Hillard's house, kind of dragging Todd along, keeping him upright. And they got there, and his house is completely ransacked. Trail of blood leading to the kitchen island. They find the professor. He's alive, but barely conscious. And they are able to stabilize him. I'm going to have a caveat here. We'll say, for now. Because none of these people are medical professionals, save Iris, but she's a psychologist, so we ain't counting that. So they got him stabilized, and now they need to ask some questions about the smooth stone that's provided both visions of alternate locations and also grisly almost deaths in Todd's case. So let's see. They get the professor stabilized. He is kind of barely with it, but he's upright. They got him sat up in the recliner and in the main living room area. And, they have like a bunch of kitchen towels essentially like tied off where they need to be to stem the bleeding. He also suffered some lacerations and a couple puncture wounds by someone who was in the house. So I say we start this off. We are at Chaos Factor 8, so I say we start this off. Does the professor remember who attacked him? He's been through a lot, but it did just happen, so it's not like completely out of the question. So we'll say, we'll give it a 50-50. Chances are good. Alright, let's go ahead and roll. Roll the D100s. Let's see what we got here at Chaos Factor 8. We need an 85 or lower. Oops. 85 or remember. So a 28. He absolutely remembers. So yeah. Who do we think it was? I'm going to take the reins here instead of, continuous rolls, and I'm going to say the professor describes the person. Interesting. Okay, so he states the intruder was wearing a police uniform. So how I'm kind of connecting this is, remember when they were in the university, in Officer Stern kind of followed them in, and he recognized Iris, but there may be some sort of tie there. They knew. I feel like they knew we were coming, and we'll say he was able to. The professor was able to drive them away. All right. So yeah. He didn't get a badge number. He didn't have any other information. We'll say that he was wearing a mask. But it was a police officer. So the gang, they kind of let him know they had a run-in themselves. I'm going to test something here. I'm going to try to do these bullet points a little shorter. They retell their encounter. Okay. The professor recognizes Iris and is confused why she's here. So she tells him, "We need your help. You're the only person I could think of. We need you to take a look at something." So Chaz reveals stone. Okay. And now let's see. The professor takes a look at the stone, and he's got it in his hand, and he can feel the warmth, and kind of with a start, he sort of tosses it. So he recognizes what it is, and he asks, "Where did you get this?" And Chaz lets them know all the things that happened at his store, the burglary, I guess the robbery, and on their way to go get a drink, stumbling upon the body, shredded to pieces, unfortunately, and the professor, he looks grim, not only from blood loss, but from the information that's being kind of set in front of him. And so he takes the time to sort of move the object into the center of a pillow where he threw it on the couch next to him, and he's telling them, "Don't touch it. Please don't touch this." and not to touch it anymore. So they both recount their experiences with it, and the professor looks even more disturbed and essentially asks Iris to go grab a book off of his shelf. Let's say Iris retrieves an old text. Now let's roll on... we don't need to roll. We know what it is. It details... No, we are gonna roll because I wanna change this up. You could do the occult, you could do demons, you could do devil worship, all that shit. But I say we go for a little bit of inspiration here. So we're gonna roll in the meeting tables. Oh yeah, we'll do the meeting tables. Okay, let's see. For meeting table 1, we've got a 63. Neglect. Okay. So we've got neglect. And then for meeting table 2, what do we have here? We've got, did I roll? That's a 90. That's 100. Neglect wound. Neglect wound. I'm gonna re-roll. We'll keep wound in our mind. So we've got a 40. Neglect home. Okay. So what can we infer from these two meeting table results? Neglect home. Oh. We'll say details of forgotten location. Sometimes you just got to put pen to paper, and then you're forced to make it work, which I think I like. Okay. Neglect home. Let's think about them as separate things instead of tied together. Okay, so we can say temple bulldozed in the late 80s. We can say the site of grisly crime. All right, there we go. So, does the professor know where this is, though? And can he tell us anything about the stone? So maybe... What if it's not a stone at all? What if it's an egg? Yeah, we're going with that. It's an egg, part of a clutch found in temple. Thought to be destroyed. Ooh, okay. So how did the guy who got killed get his hands on it? Where is the temple? Let's look at our map real quick. So we are in the arts district. Well, let's say it's in the industrial. No, because I feel like the industrial would have been a thing for longer. It's on the river. Maybe it's getting like revitalized like every industrial neighborhood in every town across the country. Yeah, okay, we could say it's on the... Oh, let's say it's on like the cusp of like the industrial and downtown. Okay. Temple was on border of industrial and downtown. Okay, so we have a location now of where we could go. So what are we thinking? That the professor is telling them that, like, do they need to return this egg? Yeah, how does he know about this? Like, how does he know? We're not going to say in old text, because if it was the late 80s, we'll say Iris retrieves a text. Details of forgotten location. Okay. So, that was bulldozed in the 80s. It was the site of a grisly crime. Professor... We'll say he remembers news of the temple and bodies found there. And then maybe his colleague studied artifacts from it before his death. All right. Cool. So, is there anything else we should know about this egg? It's weird that it's developed into an egg, but we're gonna roll with it. Did his colleague die naturally? We'll say it is we could say 50-50. I just want to know if his colleague suffered any of the fates that the people tied to this temple suffered. Oh boy. That is a 4. That's a fucking exceptional yes. What did we roll? I don't remember the roll for that, so we're gonna just breeze on past that omission. Let's see. So we get a 4, which is an exceptional yes. What would an exceptional yes mean for this? Oh, yes. Okay. He has no more info. But what if his colleague died recently? And left papers for Professor Hillard. They are in boxes. Still in the trunk of his car. Okay, alright. God damn, this thing keeps fucking sticking to me. Okay, so he still has the boxes in his car. He hasn't looked through them, but then how did he know? Maybe he just saw pictures or something? Oh yeah, okay, we'll say that. Maybe he saw... Warren's not attention anymore. We'll say... recognizes it from colleagues' photos. Cool. Awesome. So we got that there. That's how he recognized it. Wouldn't this be like this? So this has to be like top secret information. We'll say never published. You like how we're filling in plot holes as we go? We're retroactively making this story a little bit better. All right. Sometimes that's how you got to do it, though. It's fun to come up with a narrative. Right. So, Chaz grabs boxes. They sort through them. What about, are they interrupted? See, this is how you utilize the chaos factor. So we can say, realistically, are they interrupted? I'm going to say unlikely. Well, is it unlikely? Or is it likely? Or is it 50-50 considering all the shit that's happened recently? We'll say 50-50. So this is kind of breaking the rules of how to use Mythic's fate chart, which is like, or just the general rule of thumb, which is you'd want it to be positive for your players if it's a yes. But we'll see. It could be a no. 50-50, we need an 85 or lower for a yes. So a 66. But what are they interrupted by? I hate that I did those differently. Let's look through Mythic really quickly and see if we can find a table we want to roll on. So are we kind of just testing the scene then? Because that's sort of what I'm thinking. No, let's do this. Let's do the random event focus table. we're doing a roundabout way of testing the scene. Really, a roundabout way of just getting an interruption. So usually we would have tested the scene, and if we would have, our D10 would have fallen between a certain range, then it would either be an altered or interrupted scene. But instead, we're just going straight for the interrupted scene. So let's roll and see what we got here. We got ourselves a 99. What the hell? Current context. Random focus. Table. I mean, current context would be literally what we're talking about right now. Okay, so I got an idea. They hear a scraping against the siding on the professor's house. So they hear scraping. Does anyone go to look? Yeah, Chaz. Chaz is gonna step outside and look. Oh God. Does he see anything? So I'm going to say, it literally just happened. But there is a chance that he doesn't see anything. So we're going to say 50-50. Once again, an 85 or lower. So that's a 60. He does. What did I say? That's a 60? Or did I say it's a 50? Either way, it's a yes. Okay, so I'm trending towards. I mean, it's a creature. It's not a human. If this is something scraping against the house, here's how I'm gonna look at this. It's either a fucking car, or it's some weird Jason Voorhees guy scraping a machete against the side of the house. It was loud. It was big enough to where someone either drove their car into the house or against the house, or it's, I don't know, something unknown. Something weirder than that. So we're going to go to creature descriptors. Because this thing's laying eggs, it ain't human. Mutant. That makes sense, I guess. What about creature abilities? That's a 96. Uncommon. Mutant, uncommon. Mutants are uncommon. 89. Okay. Mysterious. What was it? We got mysterious, uncommon, transparent. We got fucking predator over here. And we're just going to say, notices a gouge in the exterior. Deep scratches lead toward the roof. Okay. Right. It would be crazy to follow it. So he's going to go back inside and he's going to let the crew know what he's seen. Oh, okay, I got an idea. I'm imagining this in my head. So, Professor begins to panic and moves toward his car. And we'll say exiting the back sliding doors. And then, you know what? I like this. We're gonna say something large lands on top of him. And he starts to scream. Now what? What lands on top of him? You know Scyther, the Pokemon? Like, almost like praying mantis-esque. But, like, imagine a praying mantis that's, like, the size of a mountain lion. Like, it's huge. And I want to say it's got, like rows of eyes. So, we'll say praying mantis like creature, size of mountain lion. And then what if its eyes are just like kind of wildly placed, because it is a mutant. Many eyes along the head. And we'll say like mismatched mandibles and two large bladed appendages in front and then 4 sets of 2 two-legged segments on thorax. Okay, so I think we have an enemy. As of right now, it's safe to assume this is the thing that got a hold of the original dead body with the stone that's actually an egg. This thing looks like it could do some serious fucking damage. Like, the bladed appendages are wild. Like, it's tearing into Professor Hillard. At this point, we can say Professor is deceased and dismembered in back yard. Creature moves for sliding doors. And that's where we're going to end it. That is where we're going to end it, my friends. You'll have to stay tuned for solo session number 6. This was a rocky one. We're kind of trying to find our flow again. I don't think I'm going to take a whole lot out of this. And this may drive everyone crazy, but I like I like seeing Let's Plays and actual plays where, you know, you get to see like the processing of your roles and your inspirations and kind of how you want it all to go. I'll take out the completely dead silent bits, but yeah, for the most part, I'm gonna leave in the struggle, because that is sure as shit part of it. So, very much thank you for tuning in. Schedule at work changing, so I'm gonna have a little bit more time on my hands to do some of this stuff. So stay tuned for more. Appreciate y'all watching. See you next time on Liminal Horror Solo RPG. Bye.